Good evening. Thank you all for spending your Monday night with us on this cold January day. We have a presentation for you, Nick and I. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes long, okay? And what we hope to do is to cover just a lot of the general information about the Riverside Drive project. I'm sure some of you will have questions. We just ask that you hold those till the end of the presentation. We'll stay as long as we need to until we get those addressed. I do want to point out a couple things. We do have a map here in the back on the board. It just really shows the planned detour route for how to get around the construction zone while Riverside's being built. We also have Doug and Jason. You guys want to raise your hands real quick? So these guys, they know probably a lot more about the project than I actually do. So if you have any specific questions about your yard or what may be going on in front of your home or business, those guys have a full set of plans over there. They could probably tell you a lot more of that detailed information. So with that, we'll just dive right into the presentation here. Going over the agenda, just the things that we want to talk about here tonight. We want to give you the basic background of why the town of Clarksville is investing in this South Clarksville area, and in particular Riverside Drive. As you can imagine, over the years, pavement, it ages, right? Traffic, it picks up. Developments, they flourish, around a particular road, and upgrades are needed. So we're going to go over some of the existing conditions that are out there and why we need to move forward with this project. We're also going to talk about the construction, the timeline, construction amount, and really how that's going to impact you these next few months, why it is being built. And then we also want to talk about a communication plan, okay? The last thing that we want is for you to just talk to us here tonight. This will not be the last time. We're going to talk about a way that if you would like to stay connected to the project, we'll send monthly newsletters to you all. We'll send information with types of like road closure information, if there's any planned utility outages, that type of stuff we can push through our communication plan. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to the project's designer and project manager throughout development, Nick Batta with CMT.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. The first slide here, whenever I talk about this project, I always like to first start with the context of it. And the image in the upper right on the slide is taken from the master plan that the town completed for the South Clarksville area in 2019. And I say that because this project is yet another investment in that master plan, just like the great facility that we are in here tonight. The project limits are roughly from the arc-shaped parking lot at Ashland Park, just immediately west of the Widow's Walk, and then it extends about a quarter mile to just before underneath the 2nd Street Bridge. The project's going to involve a number of different work elements. Pavement will be replaced and concrete curb installed. Sidewalks will be installed along both sides of the street, along with a shared use path that will act as a continuation of the Ohio River Greenway. There'll be amenities added, such as benches and trash receptacles and street lights. On-street parking is going to be added, as well as some additional trees and vegetation. Go ahead. So just to talk a little bit about the existing conditions, obviously if you live or own property, this is going to be nothing new to you. It's a one lane in each direction, roughly about 12 feet wide. There's no shoulder really to speak of. There's really no drainage facilities either, other than just water kind of goes where it goes or stands where it's going to stand. There is a little bit of sidewalk on the north side, although it's not continuous at both ends. So the need for the improvement focuses on first kind of a continuation of a lot of the amenities and the separation for the Ohio River Greenway. As a lot of you know, the Ohio River Greenway runs through that section, although it's shared with the traffic lane. There's also an absence of other pedestrian facilities like the sidewalks that I mentioned, and kind of connecting those sidewalks up with the existing town grid. And there's also a lack of any kind of storm sewer drainage control in the project area. So this is a section view of the proposed roadway. So maybe starting right in the middle, and then I'll work my way first to the right. Again, so there'll be one lane in each direction, 11 foot wide. And then going towards the riverside, you'll see there will be an on-street parking lane. There'll be then a curb, and then behind the curb will be a grass strip, or a buffer strip for vegetation, very similar to what you see out here. And then behind that would be the 10-foot wide cycle track or shared use path. That 10-foot track will be the Ohio River Greenway. There'll be another short buffer beyond it, and then the sidewalk will be on the back side. On the north side of the road will also be a parking lane with a curb and a similar buffer strip for vegetation within a 6-foot sidewalk then behind it. It matches a lot what you would see out here on Main Street here today. This is then a rendering of the proposed intersection of Riverside and Main Street. A few things to I wanted to point out. First, it will be a 3-way stop controlled, so we'll not have a traffic signal or anything like that. Notice the high visibility crosswalks, very pedestrian friendly, since this will be something of kind of a gathering area and an intersection of sidewalks and trails. Here's then an aerial view showing many of the amenities that I spoke of. I realize it could be a little hard to see. We'll keep it up on the screen here afterwards. But it shows, again, a lot of the things, the locations of the on-street parking, the cycle track that will be the greenway, and also there'll also be a crosswalk of Riverside opposite Widow's Walk. That's what you see there on the left of the slide. The parking area at Ashland Park will largely be unimpacted. There will be some resurfacing that's needed to tie into the facility. And again, wide walkways, just to make it very kind of pedestrian and cyclist friendly. A few of the things I want to speak about the project. First is utilities. Most of the utilities will be buried at the end of the project, and most of that work is already complete. There is still a little bit left to go that we'll finish up as the project continues during construction. The lift station is going to be retired. That's the gated facility there on the south side of Riverside opposite Main Street. So that will be demolished and retired. The former Carmen Fabrication building, that's the largest of the buildings, that will be demolished as part of the project in order to make way for the new widened roadway. We'll be working around the levee wall quite a bit, but there will not be any direct construction on the levee wall itself.
All right, so the town of Clarksville, being good stewards of taxpayers' money, they applied for and received federal funding for this project. So with that, there's certain guidelines that they had to meet, certain design standards they had to go through. So this project was actually let through NDOT back in September of this year. Mack Construction out of New Albany, a local contractor, was awarded for about $6.25 million. The town of Clarksville and Mack have completed several successful projects together. Lochmueller Group, we've recently worked with Mack on phases 1 and 2 over here at Blackston Mill Road. I'm sure they're going to do a great job for you all on this project. So as far as the schedule goes, actually construction activity started today. I don't know if you've been out on Riverside Drive today, but they put in some erosion control structures, just getting ready, getting prepared for the more land disturbing type construction activities that will occur soon. So we have a tentative road closure date set for January 22nd. I want to emphasize tentative. I think this is somewhat dependent on a single utility pole. If this utility pole gets moved, I do believe the 22nd will happen. And again, we will have measures where we update you all when that exact date will happen. The contract has two, we call them intermediate completion dates. These are dates that the contractor, Mack Construction, they have to hit, or else they will be subject to liquidated damages. So the first is November 20th of this year. This is the date that all the major construction has to happen. So heavy construction is going to be in 2024. So by November 20th, the cycle track has to be complete, the sidewalks, all drainage structures have to be installed, the pavement has to be completely in except the final surface coat and pavement markings. So essentially, everything will be opened back up by November 20th to traffic, both pedestrian and vehicular. Only leaving in 2025, I'm going to call lighter construction activities. And as you can imagine, anyone who's tried to do any seeding in your yard, it doesn't always work the first time. So if we need to come back and do some touch-up seeding early in the spring, there's also a lot of beautification measures included in this contract, a lot of plantings and trees, those sort of things. Look for that to happen in the spring of 2025. And then once all that is done, the contractor will come, they'll put their final surface coat down, they'll put pavement markings down, and hopefully we're out of here by July 1st of 2025. And I will say there's a good chance we're done before that, but that is the contractual date, okay? The final completion date is September 1st. That's when we should have all the paperwork done. We should have everything buttoned up and closed out. So I wanted to get in a little bit to the maintenance of traffic. Just talking a little bit about the construction operations that's going to be happening out there, okay? The first thing Mac's going to do, they're going to put in a huge 72-inch pipe that's going to cross Riverside Drive. It's a continuation of this project right out here on Main Street or Warner Avenue. So there's going to be a huge trench across the road. Immediately once that's done, they're going to jump into sanitary sewer work. They're going to have to put in underground storm sewer, and they're going to have to put in a new water line as well. So full disclosure, Riverside Drive is going to be a little bit of Swiss cheese. It's going to be sliced and diced quite a bit over the next few months. Traffic, you know, we can't keep it open to traffic. It's going to have to be a full closure. So it'll be detoured via Winborn Avenue, Clark Boulevard, South Clark Boulevard, Missouri Avenue, Market Street, and Southern Indiana Avenue. I'll have it up here on the next slide. Again, it's also back here on this picture back here. This is the detour. For those of you that live within the actual limits of the construction project, or if you have a business within the construction project, I want to point to this on the right, the sign. Road closed to 3 traffic. I want everyone to understand what that means. That means that you have every right to drive through the barricades. These barricades will be staggered. So if you have a purpose to be within the barricades, you have a destination in mind, you can drive through the barricades, you can get to your house. If you have a business, you can have delivery trucks, get to your business. You can have customers, get to your business. But what you cannot do is just drive through the project for fun, all the way through. You cannot do that, okay? So I hope everyone kind of understands that. Mac Construction, it will be their responsibility. They are the contractor. They will provide access to you at all times. So one day, say the first month of the project, you may be coming in to get to your home through the western side of the project, and then there may be a pipe getting installed. There's going to be a big trench all of a sudden there on the western side of the project. Then you may have to come in on the eastern side. These are things that we're going to communicate to you through our communication plan, but certainly things may not be the same every single day when you get to getting home or getting to your business. And again, we're expecting the majority of this type of thing to happen from late January to November 20th. So here's the detour. I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. It's just a nice graphic of how we're going to get around the construction zone. And again, you see that there in the back. So the communication plan, Lochmueller Group, we pride ourselves in getting information to you. The type of information that we want to give you, again, it's road closures, any planned utility outages. We're going to give you general updates along the way, a monthly newsletter. It's going to have our contact information on it. So if you ever need to get a hold of someone in case of emergency, you're going to have something really close, something you can grab and look at. So how do you receive, how does this communication plan work? Well, there's 3 ways. The easiest way is if you have signed up today, we have your email address and we will include that on a distribution list. So if anyone here has not signed up on these sign-in sheets, please do that before you leave. If not, another way, you can just email us at this email address that we've got set up specific for this project. It is riversidedrive@lochgroup.com, riversidedrive@lochgroup.com. As soon as you email that, we'll have record of your email address. We'll include you on our distribution list. And then lastly, we were actually able to get these door hangers out today. So if you have a business or if you have a home on Riverside Drive, check your mailbox. You should have a door hanger with information describing on how to sign up for this communication plan. This little letter on the right, this is basically the door hanger, more or less. So that should be at your home. I want to now introduce Doug Smith. Doug, you want to step forward real quick? So this is Doug. Doug is going to be our boots on the ground person. He's going to be out there daily with Lochmueller Group. He's our project engineer. Doug's been in the business 41 years. So it's not his first rodeo by any means. So if you have any questions, specific questions during the project, you have any complaints or anything, please take it up with Doug. But his email address is there. His phone number is there. I also want to point out Noel Hartel with MAC. Again, MAC is the entity that is really going to be making stuff happen out there, okay? So after hours, weekends, if there's an emergency that comes up, something needs moved or something, you need to be calling MAC, okay? Because they're going to be the people that can get out there quicker than we can. Obviously, they have the keys to the track hoe, keys to the backhoe, that sort of thing, which can really make things happen. And then again, I'm Chad Gibson, construction manager. I'd be more than happy to help Doug with some of those complaints. And with that, I think we're open for questions. Ready for questions?